I stood behind her, waiting for her to prepare herself. I know how hard it must be to lose a loved one, but at this time, I don't care. I know she thinks she's here to communicate with her deceased daughter, but I have other plans. She pulls her long brown hair into a neat ponytail on the top of her head, looking into the mirror before her. I smile behind her, trying to be as sincere as I can be. People trust me. I am a priest, you know. I place a hand on her shoulder and squeeze it gently, for reassurance. She smiles up at me through the mirror. I've known her since she was a small child. She attended the Catholic school that Sister Delilah ran. It's closed down now because of lack of funding. People just don't care about the church anymore, which is fine by me. Less people to stick their noses where it doesn't belong. Melissa, I need you to stay calm throughout this whole process. It can seem scary at first, but don't worry, for I am here with you. God is watching as well, I say, my voice cracking because of old age.
Yes, Father,
Melissa whispers, looking at me expectantly. Now, what I'm going to need you to do is to stare long and hard in the mirror. Do not blink or think about anything or anyone besides your daughter, and repeat after me. Do you understand?
Yes, Father.
She sniffles. A tear escapes from the corner of her left eye. Just remember why you're here. Let's begin. I grab her hand from behind her, running my thumb across the top of her freckled hand. I close my eyes, preparing for the incantation. I start my chant. I, Melissa Wilkinson.
I, Melissa Wilkerson.
She repeats me verbatim. Allow Samantha, my loving daughter, to come forth. I state, barely above a whisper, and she repeats me with her growing voice.
Allow Samantha, my loving daughter, to come forth.
I allow her into my presence, and possibly my body, just so that I can have one last time with her. Melissa repeats after me, tears streaming down her face steadily.
I allow her into my presence, and possibly my body, just so that I can have one last time with her.
The lights start flickering around us in the tiny room. I take a deep breath, preparing myself for what's to come. We hear what sounds like footsteps rumbling all around us as we listen. Melissa starts shaking with fear. I continue to grasp her hand and caress it lovingly, trying to help her stay calm. Do not stop looking in the mirror. Do not be afraid. I'm right here. I leaned over and whispered into her ear, while looking at her in the reflection of the mirror. After a few seconds, the lights stop flickering, and the footsteps disappear. As we look in the mirror, it appears that a shadow is looming behind us, tall and dark. Melissa gasps, bites her lip, and steadies herself. The shadow starts shrinking over time, developing into a reflection of her daughter, who passed away at age 10 in anaphylactic shock. Melissa starts laughing and covers her mouth with her free hand.
Hey, baby, Mommy loves you and misses you so much.
She squeals, hardly being able to control herself.
I miss you too, Mama. I've missed you every day since I've been gone.
Melissa starts sobbing, releasing her hand from mine and touches the mirror.
Oh, Sammy, I don't know how I could keep living in this world without you. You're my everything.
Samantha giggles. Her smile is so bright she can hardly contain it.
Oh, Mama, you don't have to live without me. We can live together forever.
Sammy giggled, jumping up and down in the mirror, her bright red hair shining against the light of the room.
How can we do that, Sammy? You've moved on, and yet I'm still here.
Melissa asked, her body tensing up before me.
Mama, you're silly. Didn't Father Christensen tell you anything? If you just accept me into your heart, I'll always be there, Mama.
Oh, Sammy, you've been in my heart since you were in my tummy.
Melissa sobs.
Great! Now all you have to do is say, Sammy, I accept you into my heart and body, so that our souls can be one forever. And it is as easy as that.
Melissa smiled and took a deep breath, repeating after Sammy. The mirror then went pitch black. Neither of us were able to see our reflections anymore. After that, every light in the room went off. Well, that's weird. It normally doesn't happen. What happens is that the demon comes out of the mirror and grabs the grieving person, pulling them into the mirror as well. Maybe this demon wants to put on a little show. I'm not sure, but it's starting to freak me out a bit. Don't worry, Melissa. This always happens, I whisper, reassuringly.
Mama?
A voice asks behind us, cracking slightly. We both turn around and look at the same time. A little girl is standing behind us, the spitting image of Samantha with a few creepy changes. She still had her long red hair, bright blue eyes, and freckles everywhere. She looked a little off, though. Something just wasn't right. Her skin looked paler than normal. Her nails a disgusting mix of blue and black, and the stench, oh my word, was it putrid.
Sammy! Oh my God, Sammy, you're here!
Melissa beamed, walking towards her. Samantha smiled up at her innocently. Melissa places a hand on her daughter's head, combing her hands through her hair. Samantha looked up at her expectantly, a cloud of black enveloping her bright blue eyes.
Give me a hug, Mama.
Melissa squats down and gives her a huge hug, sobbing as she does. It was at this moment, like every other session, where it started to become nasty. As Samantha hugged her mother, the stench grew to be completely unbearable. I covered my face with my sleeve, trying to get rid of the stench that's setting my nostrils aflame. I coughed, unbearably uncomfortable. As soon as the stench hit, Samantha's body disintegrated as she moved her spirit into Melissa's body. It's hard to describe how the process works. I can never really see it as it happens. I asked a demon in a previous session, how come I cannot ever see someone being possessed? And he told me that it was because mortals aren't meant to see such things. As Samantha and Melissa become one, Melissa let out an ear-piercing scream, gasping for breath and trying to push Sammy away.
Why? What's going on?
Melissa yelled, as her body fell to the floor and went limp. It's a good thing that I always do these sessions at midnight so that no one else will be in the church. Melissa's body laid on the ground for quite some time. It felt like it was hours that I was just standing there, staring at her limp body. I crouched down beside her, my knees whimpering in pain. Damn, I'm getting too old for these things, and too old for these sessions. It's taken a toll on every nook and cranny within my body. I placed a hand on her cold shoulder, grasping it gently and shaking. Melissa started coughing as a disgusting gray substance leaked out of the corner of her mouth and onto the floor. Ugh, I'd have to clean that up later. Melissa tried to stand but couldn't, her body still shaking from the possession. It takes a little bit for the demon to get used to the body. It's a big change coming from hell, a spiritual plane, onto earth, a physical plane. Not only does it take a toll on the demon doing the possession, but the human body that is being possessed grows very tired and sometimes has injuries from the process. Normally, when that happens, it's because the body may be too old to handle the soul transformation. It's eerie to watch, and, honestly, scary. Even though I've been doing this for years, it still makes me feel uneasy to have to deal with this. It will all be worth it in the end, though. Melissa's hand reached out and grabbed my arm, digging her nails into my skin. It was really painful. It broke skin and I was bleeding profusely. I let out a yelp, but helped Melissa stand. Melissa looked up at me and smirked.
Maybe you should get a bandage.
The voice was wrong. It didn't sound either female or male, which means the demon still had some adjusting to do. No, I think I can manage, I said through clenched teeth. Melissa laughed and shook her head.
I've heard quite a lot about you in hell. I thought you'd look different. You were pathetic and weak,
she said, her eyes glinting in amusement. It's just because I'm getting old, I retorted, looking away from her.
Sure it is. You, rotting, worthless, waste of time. Lead me out of here. I have things I need to do,
she stated, clearly agitated. I grew a spine and said, if it wasn't for me, young lady, you wouldn't even be here. I know getting used to a human body can be painful, but you shouldn't take it out on me, I said, in a timid, shaking voice. Melissa cackled.
Oh, please. There are plenty of worthless people like you in the world. People who turned away from God and decided to help us possess humans so that you can have status in hell. You're a dime a dozen, little boy.
I sighed and turned my head, walking over to the door. I'll lead you to the exit. Melissa followed quietly behind me. I couldn't even hear her feet hit the ground. I walked down the stairs out of the attic and into the main chapel area. As we walked to the pews, I heard Melissa laughing behind me. Why are you laughing? I asked, curious.
I've never been in a church before, and let me tell you, I thought it would be more exciting.
Since I invoked the demon in church, they do not get harmed here. But if they try to come back later, they can't enter without me present. All I have to say is a few sentences and they're able to enter. I open the main door and motion for her to leave.
Thanks for the help. I owe you one.
Melissa said, smirking up at me. No, don't worry about it. I'll receive my comeuppance once I pass, I stated in a strong voice. You seriously do not want a demon indebted to you, because whatever you ask them to pay the debt with, they will always make it terrible for you in every way. That is all I'll say about that. Melissa skipped out into the night, most likely to head home and kill her husband. Which is a shame. Preston is a nice young man. Sometimes I feel terribly guilty for unleashing demons onto the general population. But most of the time, I do not. Why? Because there are so many sinners in this world who do terrible things, without the influence of demons or hell. Why should I care about the maybe 30 demons I have unleashed onto the world? I don't. Ever since my grandfather received fortunes in hell that no mortal can ever dream of, I knew that I needed to be in the same place when I die. Especially since I'm a priest helping demons. I will amass much more than he ever could. I know who people who believe in God have faith in me because I'm a priest. But don't. You never know who you could be working with. This business is dirty. But don't worry. I'll see you in hell.